Hello, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Don't Panic. I am Israel Luna, and we are here at Spayse Station located at Spayse Studios. And I'm really excited about this show because we are going to be talking about controversy and how it affects pop culture, movies, music, artists, everything. And so, of course, I have a really great panel of judges that are going to be giving their input on controversy, and I'm going to have them introduce themselves, starting right over here.
I'm Chaz Buchanan, just local filmmaker.
Just local filmmaker?
Just
You're Chaz Buchanan.
Yeah, I know, that's what I've been told. But no, just making films, just trying to get stuff done. But really excited. We got some projects we're going to be talking about, hopefully, on the show today.
Oh, yeah.
And here to talk about controversy and controversial matters.
Sweet.
So, excited. Thanks for having me on.
Get a little closer.
I'll say it again.
There you go.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
I'm Corker McKenna, and I'm a local actress, model. I dabble in things that are pretty controversial, so BDSM modeling, stuff like that.
Gotcha.
So.
I'm loving the hair, by the way.
Thank
It's
you.
gorgeous,
I just
right?
did it yesterday.
Oh, yeah? Nice. And at the end there?
And I'm Stone Cold Weirdo Ty Larson. I work in healthcare and do stuff and things.
And things and stuff.
And things and stuff too. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm very interested in things and stuff.
Oh, me too.
Yeah, it's great.
Oh my God, that's exciting. And speaking of stuff and things, so the first thing that I want to ask is just the word in general, controversy or controversial. What does that mean to you?
Honestly, I believe that it's just anything that challenges the idea or programming in society or the mainstream. So if we have a conformity of ideas that exist in our, everyday lives, anytime it's questioned or somebody has to change their way of thinking or even process something just a little bit off of what their daily program schema is, then chances are, it's going to be controversial because it's going to mess with the establishment.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I second him. Anything that is new or people haven't seen before, they don't know what to think in the beginning. Everybody takes sides on whether to be with it or opposed to it, and it creates this big public debacle. We all start to fight over the news and social media and everything, and it instantly becomes a divider when if we were to just take a step back and educate ourselves a little bit, then maybe we could open our minds to these things instead of letting them be so controversial.
Well, and it's undefined as well. Like, if
Right.
it's completely undefined, there's no label on it yet. So how can you even talk about something to even have a perspective with somebody until something is new and innovative and it has not been defined?
Got it.
Well, even then, sometimes controversy is just challenging the norms and making something weird the new normal. But it's a tough process. Goodness, I mean, the LGBT rights in the 60s and 70s, for instance, that was a huge movement. It was a big controversy, and now it's still a controversy, but not as much so people see it as normal.
Right. Well, and speaking of, that incident or that situation with fighting for equality, just out of curiosity, when it comes to pop culture, like whether it's films or artists or art in general, what are things that have caused a controversy? Like the first thing I think of is Dog Day Afternoon with Al Pacino. That one, it was controversial because, there is a little spoiler alert here, but it was really great because the whole thing is a standoff between him and the police. And in the very end, you realize he's trying to take all this money and steal all this money because he's wanting to get money for his girlfriend's sex change operation.
That's pretty hardcore, man.
Yeah, so that was like very controversial. So that's like one of the
Yeah.
first things that I think of as, like earlier. Any
Well,
others?
I see there's a lot of filmmakers, if we're talking about films, that have done crazy things. Look like Darren Aronofsky did Requiem for the Dream, where the guy was, shooting up and his girlfriend was going and sucking dick and going back to back for smack.
Yeah.
And that's considered art, and it's an artsy film, but I'm saying it crossed the line, and I know a lot of people were freaking out about that film. You got American History X, where you
Tough
got
to watch.
Edward Norton and his hate monger breed, and then finally, you know, he has a epiphany, but after he got like ass raped in prison, and he has a hot scene with what's that chick from
Who cares? I'm still at ass raped in the shower. What? Say that again. Say it slowly.
ass. No, but what I'm saying is the girl from The Craft. What is her name?
The bad girl?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
Oh, yeah. her.
Baruka is not. That's not Baruka.
It's one of those I can never remember when someone asks
I
me.
can't remember.
Yeah,
either.
her.
Somebody right now is on live Facebook right now commenting and like, y'all are fucking morons. It's just like everybody's watching it live. Like they just
Right.
said it was this, but like I'm not watching my Facebook people, so you
Right.
probably have already answered it. And I'm sitting here like, oh, what is it?
For the record, I feel stupid, so.
But I do remember watching American History X and thinking, after I left the theater, I thought, why was this made? This is just to
But it was a
cause
coming. It was
anger.
that's true. You know, but I believe. But you asked for controversial. I mean, there's a lot
Yeah.
of
No,
controversial stuff. I
absolutely.
mean, look at Bound. Jennifer Tilly, like they did that big finger bang thing,
Yeah.
and that was controversial.
Amazing.
And then you had Monsters Ball with Holly Berry and
Billy Bob.
Billy Bob, yeah. And then you have, I mean,
No, I don't even really think that was like considered really controversial. It was very like brave for Halle Berry to just give it her all, and then she ended up winning the Oscar. But I don't know if that was
man.
like really maybe it was because of it.
well,
was
I
a
mean,
sex
you
scene?
have you didn't. Well, it's like I said, I named some Stanley Kubrick films. I mean, you have films like 2001: A Space Odyssey, which questions how we were made, like our belief system. So that one was definitely controversial at the time.
Yeah.
You had Full Metal Jacket.
Yeah. What films do you guys consider controversial, or that you're a fan of that are controversial?
Well, especially when it came out, Boys Don't Cry. That one was very, very hard hitting. And most people, when they think of transgender, they automatically think of male to female for some reason. This actually touched on the other side of it and showed what it's like from the inside point, and made a lot of people very uncomfortable because they've not even thought about how to process that as a possible emotion that someone can go through.
Yeah. And the way it was shot too, it was very raw in a lot of ways. So it really hit a lot of nerves because they didn't really back away from like the rape scene and the nudity. It was really powerful though. It was, and I wonder if that's because it was a female director as well.
Probably. I can see that. Because I mean, if I were the one directing it, I would want to make the audience be able to connect with my character, to be able to understand what it's like to go through those things, even though you're not wired that way. So you can't think of that on your own. You have to have someone show you
Right.
that can be done, that it is a real thing.
Right, that it happens, yeah. Ty, what about you? What's a film that comes out that you think, ooh?
Oh goodness, Caligula.
Ooh,
yeah.
What is it? A Serbian film. Just about anything by Lars von
Didn't I
Trier.
show that to you?
Yeah, yeah.
Dirty Girls.
Serbian film I was just not ready for. I had read about it, and so I had a group of people together, and I said, okay, we're going to watch this movie. I don't know what it's about, but it supposedly is really controversial, and everyone's like, we've seen Hostel, we've seen this movie. All right. And we watched it, and everyone afterwards hated me. They're like,
Yeah.
why in the hell did you make us watch this movie? And
That was like a year of nightmares.
it was, have y'all seen it? Don't watch it. It's
Okay,
just...
I'll just take your word for it then. That face right there.
Yeah. Now, what about artists? Like let's just say singers in general. Like, who's controversial?
Ooh. Well, I mean, you have like an evolution of what's controversial throughout history. I mean, look at you had jazz that goes into rock and roll, and it was about being rebels and how bad you can be a rebel. You had Elvis Presley shaking his hips. You had James Brown and all these different greats. And then you go, who's heavier? Like, let's go Black Sabbath, the Beatles, whatever these things are. And music kept getting right. But I mean, it was an evolution of being how shocking you can be.
Right.
So
Well, even the
Exactly.
Beatles, weren't they pretty controversial when they first came out? Because it was the first time Americans had seen people with longer hair.
absolutely. I mean,
that was a big thing.
It's just controversy. It's how shocking you can be. Because
Yeah.
I mean, now we're getting Miley Cyrus on wrecking balls and all this crazy stuff that we're seeing.
Yeah.
But you had Prince and you had Michael Jackson and all these people just had controversy surround them. But I mean, American culture, we love controversy, and music is the same way. I mean, you had Madonna in the '80s spearheading what is the new sex, like, pretty much
Yeah.
in music form.
No, and music and film are what push the boundaries and kind of cause people to evolve because it's out there. Everybody has a opportunity to see it, especially back before the internet. I mean, television, film, radio, that's how things kind of moved along.
Absolutely.
Whenever you have anything profound, it's gonna make waves, good and bad. Time anybody puts anything out that creates any kind of notice, there are gonna be people pissed off about it.
Well, I do remember in the early 80s when Motley Crue and Rat were coming out, and they were like having these, it was like a new style of music where now you have monster ballads, which had never been done before. The first one I ever heard of was Home Sweet Home, that I was like, whoa, what is this? This is kind of, it's like hard, but it's a ballad.
You had,
Yeah.
say, Guns N' Roses with, November Rain and, Sweet Child of Mine and all these other big
Ozzy
80s
Osbourne.
songs. Ozzy Osbourne, too. But, I mean,
Yeah.
he came from Sabbath. But, I mean, all the hair bands, the tight spandex, the makeup, the big hair, everybody trying to be shocking and more flamboyant than the rest. I mean, 80s were a time where you wore the neon colors and no matter who you were in life, you look like a damn Fruity Pebble.
Well, I remember watching an interview with Ozzy Osbourne, and he said that the reason he started his band was because he didn't want to be a part of music that his parents would listen to. And he said, there were this new thing of like all these horror films in the late 70s that were really, really, pretty hardcore. And he said, why can't we do a musical version of horror movies? And that's how.
Well, there's
he
a
started.
lot of bands that you're talking about right there that tried to shock people. You had like Alice Cooper, and then you had Kiss, and then you keep going on and on. Like then it goes to Marilyn Manson in the 90s. It's how shocking you can be, What's going on? Ozzy's biting heads off of bats and birds, and
So now, like,
Don't forget snorting a line of ants.
yeah, that was a
What?
Motley Crue
Yes,
bit.
yes.
Yeah, a
He
bet.
went to a party. They bet him that he wouldn't lick. No, they bet Nikki Sixx that
Nikki
they would
Sixx.
that he
Yeah,
wouldn't
Motley
lick his
Crue.
own piss up. And Ozzy was so messed up that he came up and licked up Nikki Sixx's piss, and then they were out of drugs, so he snorted
He
a line.
snorted
of
a line
ants.
of ants.
I think I have this movie at home. Wow, I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
So nowadays, let's just say the last 5 years, who are some controversial artists that you can think of?
I mean, Katy Perry right now is a little bit controversial
Oh,
with
with
her
her-
new album and then the
Britney
performance
Spears
that she did.
comment
Wait,
that she
what?
just made.
Yeah.
What's going on? I don't even know.
She bleached her hair,
Okay.
and she made a comment on the red carpet to the reporter that her next stage, because she's done every color, is to have a mental breakdown and shave her head. Yeah, she pulled that one out.
That's not very nice.
No.
I mean, I don't even think that's controversial because that's pretty much just an internet meme. Like,
Maybe.
I mean, people post like, "Ooh, going through my Britney stage," and then there's the photo of her like shaving her head. That
Oh
the
my God.
paparazzi.
Yeah,
It's
well,
on the news right now, though. People are
Britney
very
Spears, we're
offended
talking about
by
when she
it.
shaved her head.
Yeah.
That's
That was all drug related though. She was like, because they were, it was for her kids' custody or something, so she wanted
Yeah.
to
She was
shave her
going
head
through
bald and didn't want anybody to know, like, hey, whoa, we just tested your hair for like a year or two back.
Well, see,
bitch,
and
what
it's-
did you not take?
It's
You
funny
know?
because like the reason she gave for it is because everybody was trying to touch her hair. Like she had stylists before she was even trying to go out and get groceries, and they would
Really?
want to do her hair, and paparazzos would touch her hair, and she said she just got fucking pissed and shaved it.
Wow. Now,
So either way,
now, is there also a controversy with Katy Perry's album, like with her music, or is it just like what she said and her look?
well, I guess using drag queens on the SNL performance,
Oh,
people
yeah.
are saying that she's kind of leaning on like drag culture and the ball culture of New York to try and sell a straight album.
Right, but if she is, I mean, is there something wrong with that?
There's been people doing that shit, pardon my French, for years. Look at Lady Gaga. Like, she like flamboyantly goes towards the gay market.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
well,
mean, so it's not like something new. I mean, when we see pretty much, you're any song that stands out, right? It's going to be by an artist. If longevity like follows them, they're going to have so many scandals because there's so many things going on in their life: groupies, life changes, drugs, friend changes, money.
Right.
cars, like so many things. So like they're going to be evolving as an artist, but they're also becoming a little bit more jaded.
Well, I
Yeah.
think that it's really interesting how before a few years ago it would be a career killer to have any type of LGBT reference on anything, and now it's almost like it's helping their career. And we have to cut to our first break, and when we come back, we are going to continue that conversation, and we are going to talk about to Mr. Buchanan about his upcoming project called hold on, Moonshine Meat Market Mayhem. We'll be right back.
But
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Don't Panic. Before we cut to break, we were talking about how a few years ago, having anything LGBT related could be considered a career killer. And now it seems like a lot of artists are embracing the LGBT community. We were talking about Katy Perry using drag queens in her performance at Saturday Night Live. And then we have Lady Gaga with, of course, the whole Born This Way thing. That entire album was like super gay. Now, I guess my question is, what makes, well, first, how you feel about artists doing that, and then does it matter the authenticity? Are they doing it just for marketing purposes, or is it really something they're passionate about? We'll start with you since you're a part of the LGBT community.
Oh my God, calling me out. I mean, I think if they're out in the community, they're doing things, they're speaking out, they're not just kind of taking something to make money off of it, totally cool. Like, as long as you understand the culture that you're borrowing from and kind of acknowledge that this is where it came from, it wasn't my idea, but like, check out this cool shit I can do with it. Mm-hmm. That's not so bad. But just straight up jacking something, I mean, the gays in New York weren't super happy when Madonna came out with Vogue, even though she used a lot of gay dancers for it, but she totally ripped off the New York ball scene and
Right.
didn't say a thing about it or acknowledge it.
Right. Well, you know, and it goes with just like like Sharon Needles, that drag queen,
Mm-hmm.
you know, won RuPaul's Drag Race. Before there was, you know, Sharon Needles, there was probably 100 drag queens named Sharon Needles throughout the towns. But then
Yeah.
she had the biggest platform and won, and now there's only one Sharon Needles. So maybe that's kind of what Madonna did, is now she made it mainstream.
Yeah.
You know, should you be mad at her for that? I don't know.
Well, even then, I don't think it was mainstream until we got, Paris is Burning came out,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
in more recent years, more people have seen it now and know about ball culture. And
Yeah.
I don't think people even know that it still goes on.
Right. Exactly. What were you going to say?
Well, I'm also part of the LGBT community. I'm
Work, bitch.
pansexual in a lesbian relationship.
Yeah.
But I grew up around a lot of drag queens. One of my first girlfriend's uncles was a drag queen. And from that perspective, I can kind of see they're just now getting their leg up to where they can start doing what they want instead of being underground. And now you have straight women taking it and making it part of their marketing scheme. They need to at least be doing activism for the LGBT
think I'm
community.
with you,
If you're going to do something like that, you have to make sure that it's a good platform, that you're helping us, not just taking from us, because we're doing enough to get by on our own.
Right. Yeah. Chaz, I know you're about to...
Okay, I mean, basically what I'm seeing is it's being more open and more accepting in the world today than it was in the past. So I think more people are getting knowledgeable and they're actually seeing the couples, so they're actually getting to see it in the real world. Like, and if you know, a couple hundred years ago, if you were gay, you were beaten, killed, whatever, unless it was the ancient Rome times and shit. Anything, you could do anything. I mean, it's a wild time.
There
Right,
was
right.
no lines between gay or anything. It was
Exactly.
about dominance.
Exactly. But that's exactly what I'm saying. But in modern times, it was like looked at as something really horrible. Well, I think today, if we're in 2017, we're watching anything. I mean, y'all have y'all's. I'm saying y'all because I know y'all are all. Everybody on here is gay except me, people.
Bum, bum, bum.
Uh-huh.
By
But
the end of the show,
we won't talk about last night. But
He's our token straight.
we have
Yeah.
those now.
Yeah.
But no, so pretty much what I'm getting at is it's now more accepted. I mean, Iceman from the X-Men is now gay.
Mm-hmm.
You had so many people that are gay. I mean, Dumbledore's gay. I mean, and then you have Sulu in the new Star Trek, which is gay. Like
Right,
everybody's
right, right.
accepting all this stuff
Right.
now, which is
Exactly.
cool. But I mean, it took decades of people learning and getting acclimated with that lifestyle or culture because you don't understand it, so you feel alienated. So if you feel alienated from anything, you're going to attack it.
Right.
Well,
Well,
again, it took celebrity influence to do that
Right.
because people didn't see it. There weren't gay people on TV. Actors couldn't come out as gay. Singers couldn't come out as
It would
gay,
be,
or
it would
ruin
destroy
a
your career.
Yeah.
Well, and then there was horrible rumors, like they would put propaganda against y'all,
Yeah.
like
Oh,
if they're gay, they have AIDS or something like that, and you got that a lot.
And
in the
media
70s
would
and
run
80s.
with it, yeah.
Yeah, and so kids were taught by their parents at that age to either be scared or be accepting. So you're going to have a few generations before anybody's like everybody has conformed to the new belief.
Well, for me, the whole celebrity influence thing, it's, you have an artist like Pink who came out a few years ago and came out with the song called Raise Your Glass. And it was supposed to be this anthem, like for LGBT, youth and everything, raise your glass, be proud of who you are. And then you have Katy Perry doing, her first song, which was, I Kissed a Girl. But then on that same album, she has a song called You're So Gay and You Don't Even Like Boys, which I feel is extremely offensive. But then you have Lady Gaga, who actually comes out and in her lyrics says gay, lesbian, transgender. She uses those words. So I'm like, I kind of go with Lady Gaga in that case, because why, to Pink, when she did Raise Your Glass, why does it have to be so unbelievably subtle?
It was almost a
You know?
career. I think it's now not a career killer, but Ricky Martin, when he came out, like he was supposed to be the hot sex symbol for all these girls, man.
Yeah.
Like all these girls were supposed to swoon over him. I think that's why they kept George Michael in the closet for so long.
Or tried to.
because you
Yeah, tried to.
you had
There
Wham
wasn't.
and you had George Michael.
Well, you just had to keep him out of those bathrooms. He
Right.
couldn't help it.
But I'm
Poor
just
guy,
saying.
I'm serious.
All I'm saying
Let's
is
get that
people
foot tapping.
at the time.
wide stance. It's a wide stance.
It's all perception. It's how we perceive it. Like, does it make him any bit of a different person because he, does whatever he's doing and just, pastime, getting jello on this or jello on that? I don't care what he's getting jello on. You know what I'm saying? Like, he was the same person before and he's the same person after. We either accept them or not. But these people changed the course of history. I mean, look at Judas Priest, fronted by a gay man. So
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, and you also have like Melissa Etheridge, who, when she was becoming popular, she came out and she had her biggest album as she came out. So I think with the George Michael situation, it's going to come down to the product that you are delivering. So if you still have hit songs, people are going to overlook it. But I think the whole time the controversy was coming up with George Michael, his music career also wasn't doing very well because probably a drug thing. I don't know.
I think that it's just like I said, everybody gets a little older, and I mean, you can't have these pop stars staying young forever. So as they get older, they're aging. They can't go party like they were 20 again. Like, and all those stories that when they were 20 is going to catch up to them. People are going to find out. So you have to eventually come out, because hopefully the community embraces you at that point, or any community. Like, if just anything, we have to accept it, put a defined term on it, and then say, okay, I can live with this. That's what.
And I think it's
anything
funny
is.
when I see people, especially straight people on social media, who are like, I don't even know why they need to come out. Like, what's the big deal? I'm straight.
Oh my
But
God.
they don't realize that growing up, a lot of gay people didn't have anybody who was like them to kind of
To relate to on television.
to relate to. And that's why a lot of LGBT people have issues with depression. They have the highest rates of suicide, because you grow up feeling alienated. You don't see anybody like you. And then eventually we got Ellen, we got Will and Grace. God, I remember Ellen. I remember sitting in my room as like, God, a 6 or 8 year old boy, and just bawling my eyes out as I watched like an interview with Ellen right after she came out, like thinking, okay, I'm not the only one. This isn't weird. It isn't bad. Because
Right.
before that, I thought it was wrong.
Well, see, I had a very similar experience, but it was watching the Latin Grammys. The very first year that they decided to broadcast the Latin Grammys, watching it, my eyes glossy the whole time, especially when it would cut to commercial and seeing Spanish commercials. I'm like, I've never seen this before, and now mainstream America is seeing this, and it was like such a moment. So straight, heterosexual, Caucasian males don't understand that, and it's not their fault.
Hey, I'm straight Caucasian male, and
You're different. You're different. You're
I'm
super
saying
cool.
yeah.
I'm just saying, like the person that told that to Ty, it's like, well, y'all just don't get it because
Yeah.
you've always had representation.
Well, like I said, everybody, just things don't happen overnight, and
Yeah.
that's the thing that people need to realize. Like, there's a lot of people that just think the world is perfect and changed. Like, people are people, human beings are human beings, and hate, no matter where the hate is coming from, no matter what it's in, industry, business, personal, racial, whatever. I mean, anytime somebody can have any kind of drama, they seem to flock to that. So there's really not much that you can do. I mean, obviously change some things you can.
That ties it back into the controversy, because
Yeah.
it takes people pushing past the boundaries and the norms that we already have to make people rethink their ideas
Bingo.
and change.
Well, that brings us back to the new controversy that's going on in the gay community itself is coming out in reverse. There's such a pressure to be on one side of the fence or the other. We have all these young people that are coming out as gay and lesbian, and then later in life they realize that they're actually bisexual. And so they have to go to their friends and family again and say,
And in
I
a way,
got it
come
wrong.
out again.
Yes,
Yeah.
and for the lesbian community, that is there's straight lesbians will not, a lot of them won't date bisexual girls because they think that they're sluts.
Oh God,
'Cause,
the
yeah,
whole
I had a girl at school tell me, get off the fence, bitch.
bisexuals get the worst shit. It's so stupid. The
Yes.
whole greedy thing and choose one or the other. Are you gonna cheat on me with the other gender? Like,
If I'm
what
a
the fuck?
slut, I'm a slut. If I'm not, I'm not. Like-
Well, Margaret Cho said it best. She said that she was, she was straight, and then she said that one day she realized, you know what, I kind of am attracted to women. Am I gay? Am I straight? I realized I'm just a slut. And I have a confession to make. I'm bisexual. Buy me something, I'm sexual.
Ah.
Guys, we have to cut to our next break. And then when we come back, I promise we are going to talk to Chaz about not only his upcoming film, but the film that he had before, because it is full of controversy in a really great way. We're going to be talking to him when we come back. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. To Don't Panic. For those of you who are just joining us, we are talking about controversy. And before we get started, I'm going to have everyone introduce themselves one more time.
Chaz Buchanan.
Filmmaker.
Filmmaker.
Controversial.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, which we'll be talking about in a second.
That's cool.
I'm Corker McKenna. I'm a actress in the area. I also do some BDSM modeling. Yeah. People don't like my scenes, apparently. Or they really love them. They just like
They just pretend. They just pretend they don't. Yeah.
And I'm Ty Larson, Stone Cold Weirdo.
Who does things and sometimes does stuff.
And stuff and things.
Yeah. Exactly.
And
Now-
don't forget.
Now, before we move on, I want to first apologize to you, just assuming that you were not a part of the LGBT community. That was my fault for just assuming. So thank you for clearing that up.
What an asshole.
I know, I'm a terrible person. But I also want to bring up the fact that all three of you, this is the first time that you have been at this studio on this show.
it's pretty
Yes,
exciting.
that's actually
That's awesome.
that's correct.
Yeah. I hope that's okay. I'm glad you're on the show, Chaz.
Yeah.
It's
Same.
weird to be wearing clothes.
See, I actually asked him this. I said, he goes, "You gonna be on my show this Friday?" I said, "It's not that one where y'all out being naked and shit." Actually,
Corker, I don't
wait
know
a
what he's
second.
talking about.
There's a green screen
It's
behind me.
nudity's fine
What's
with me,
back
sweetheart.
here? What do I got back here? What is this thing? Is it controversial? You probably got something nasty like behind me, and I'm just sitting here with green screen.
It's like a helicoptering
Whatever it
penis right
is.
now.
Yeah. Spraying, just spraying everywhere. What the hell?
That's exactly what it is.
This is a controversial show, and I'm sitting here smiling. I have no idea there's a penis on my shoulder.
Well, you know what? Speaking of penis on his shoulder, that's a great segue to his film. Chaz Buchanan is a controversial filmmaker. He has all kinds of crazy stuff in his films because your first film was called
Tale of the Voodoo Prostitute.
Yes, which is not far from having a penis on your shoulder because what is it about?
Okay, it's about this vicious pimp who goes and he forces girls into prostitution. Well, one day he forces the wrong girl into prostitution. She casts a spell on him to turn his dick into a rattlesnake. And so he sends all his henchmen out to find this voodoo prostitute, and she's like using her powers and killing all these people. And this guy's just sitting here like crapping his pants and getting a beard because he has a snake for a penis. And so,
Which sounds kind of cool.
right?
Yeah.
Well, so you find out she ends up killing all his henchmen, and she comes to him, and you find out the reason why she cast a spell on him with this is because she actually was in love with him, and she didn't want him cheating on her. Ooh. And so he ends up marrying her, and she takes the curse off, and then he kills her.
Aww.
Isn't that what men do when they marry
Yeah,
women?
see, he was just fooling her, like, you know, she might have had
Exactly why
all
I'm
the power.
divorced.
But it was just a weird, kooky. It was my blaxploitation film, or you know, that I wanted to do that '70s style, grindhouse style.
Yeah.
Now, of
And-
course, my big question about your film is, how does one find a voodoo prostitute? Do they just go in the phone book and they're like, "Oh, voodoo prostitute"? You know, how do they find them?
Well,
Just
it's
out of
just
curiosity.
here's
Craigslist.
you have to be
Craigslist.
you have to be very lucky. No, just playing.
Post on credit. Looking for voodoo prostitute.
Yeah.
You'll get 20 of them in 13 minutes. Yeah.
Even with Google ratings,
And
Yelp ratings.
Give me a couple days. I might be able to help with that.
Oh yes. I would
Voodoo
love-
prostitute with 4.5 stars on Yelp.
Oh my God, this is the one.
She's
for
only
me.
3 miles away.
Right. Exactly. If she's negative 1 feet away, does that mean she's inside me?
She's already done her job.
She's already done it. But no, I've been very fortunate. Like I said, any actor or actress out there realizes that they're just playing a part, and it's not real life. And almost every actor or actress in Hollywood has had a sex scene or a nude scene or something like that. There's not one that you can't think of. Filmmakers do it left and right too. I mean, they put it in their films because sex is just a part of life. What I am going to say is, by doing a film like that and finding people like that, what it is just knowing that if you ask somebody and it's not okay with them, then you don't force them to do it. What you do is you keep going until somebody finds it as an opportunity. And when somebody takes that opportunity, it's nobody else's business.
Now, when you were casting for your film, did you find it difficult to cast, especially for the lead role, or was it pretty easy, or how did that
it
happen?
was a breeze.
Because
Almost.
you shot it here locally, right?
Yeah, I shot it here locally.
Bible Belt, DFW. How did you do it?
Well, it's just what I'm getting at is long, short, and sweet. Is if you make a movie and people know that it's going to actually get done and it's going to be put out, it's going to be in distribution. Like, I'm 2 for 2. Every single film I do, feature-wise, even is going to get in distribution. Whether or not my first couple or might be great or not, it doesn't matter as long as I'm getting better. At least they're getting seen. Here's the thing that I always hate about people. They're like, oh, well, I've done 20 projects. It's like, well, what have those 20 projects done? Because your first few are going to be bad anyway.
Yeah.
So as long as they're getting seen and you got a cult following for them, and there are some successes and something to grow off of, then by all means, you know, make something happen with every project you do.
Yeah,
What
and
were you
like
gonna
as an actor, like that sounds like a fun project to work on. Like,
Man, we have
who
so
would
much
turn
fun.
that down?
We have so much fun on our sets, and we really become a family. I'm not
Yeah.
even gonna lie. Like, you could ask anybody who's ever been on one of my sets. We provide an experience. You're gonna have a wild time. It's gonna be fun. You're gonna make friends. Shit's gonna be going crazy. There's gonna be
Now-
trash cans with fire
Last
in
day of
them and half-naked
production
people
is
everywhere.
sad. So you
Well,
have to
now
leave.
speaking of being on the set, can I kind of bring up something? There's a rumor going around. I don't know if you know this or not, about that. Some people think that there was actual. You know, this is going on to your second film, Moonshine and Meat Market Mayhem, that just came out a couple months ago.
Yeah, 2 months ago. Yeah.
2 months
Oh,
ago.
actually, a month and a half. Yeah.
Okay, so that was shot here in Dallas. You had a huge cast.
Over 300.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so there's this rumor going around that there's some crazy sex scenes in this
All
movie people.
imitation.
The rumor is
imitation.
that some of them were
100% fake.
not.
Oh
Is
my
that-
God! See, here's the thing that you don't understand.
Because this is one of your actors, right?
Yeah, she's actually the one that's in question
Yeah.
here.
Okay,
I'm,
yeah,
I'm
I
the
would wanna
actress
hear from
that's from the scene.
Okay.
I was married to the man in the scene with me at times, so it started off as a joke that turned into a rumor. No sex was actually had.
Yeah, here's
It
let me-
was-
here's how it actually went down.
Okay.
We had a film scene where we thought it would be cool to really do something wild, provocative, and just something that a scene that nobody would ever forget. So we had
definitely
her.
that.
We had her having. I mean, like I said, you can put a few sex scenes in your movies, but it still be character driven and developed and thought
Of course,
provoking.
that's why I write.
Okay,
sex
because
scenes.
well, I'm just saying, if you have a sex scene in your film, that doesn't mean that you don't have a heart and soul in it. What it means, and you can have great dialogue and everything else. But I like to have a few
Yeah.
wild scenes.
Sex is part of life.
Bingo, sex is definitely part of life. But we had her grinding on a zombie while another creature, because in ours we have cavemen people that eat zombies and humans that are alive. So he's eating the brain of this man while she's sleeping with him.
Like while she's banging him.
Yes.
Okay.
But you see, the reason why there was so much controversy is, like I said, they were comfortable enough just to get nude. There was no real sex, but we did have a nutsack in the film, and it was pretty prominent. And
It's
like,
not.
A real one? Or
that was a real one. That's why it was. That's why I had to cut it out.
It
That's
was
why-
for the first cut. It wasn't
Yeah.
done yet.
Gotcha. Now, why did you take it out? I mean, the
Well-
nutsack is.
Balls need more love.
Well,
Balls are great.
because I have
Maybe
I
for
have,
you.
I have questions like this. That's why. Because people can't distinguish what is real and what's not. Here's the thing. Here's another thing. I had an actress give a scene where she imitated giving head to a guy, right? He had his pants on, and she was actually a foot away from him. But with camera movie magic, it looked real as possible. These people are just playing characters, and what sells in this area, it's horror films with a little bit of sex and original plot lines, or something that's just.
So I have a question.
Yeah.
If she had approached you on the set and said, you know what, I'm married to this guy, or we're dating, we love each other, would you mind in our sex scene if we did it for real? What would you say?
I would say no, but I also at the same time told them that I didn't care if they were both naked where they did it, because they are comfortable enough to do that, and I was comfortable enough asking them, and once they agreed to it, there was no issue at all. I mean, it was all imitated, it was all imitation, there was no insertion anywhere. Like, it's just a hot scene, and there's a
Right.
few hot scenes in a movie about, just wild cannibals.
Well, getting
and
back to
everything
the
else.
controversy thing, when people bring this up, and let's just say it's starting creating this little controversial buzz about the film, do you just kind of go with it, or do you want the rumors to stop, especially from you being an actor and that you want to continue working? How do you deal with it?
If people are paying attention to me, that's more people that know my name. So what the hell is the problem with it?
Okay.
I mean, it is what it is. I know the truth. Y'all can talk about it all you want to.
And what about you as the filmmaker? Are you embracing the controversy, or are you just like, no, people, it's not true? Or
Here's where I'm at. Like, I really, at this point, just want to make wild, memorable movies. I know that my next few films are in my mind, I envision my track record going to be, or my roadblocks that are going to come up. I'm just going to make 4 or 5 crazy, off-the-wall B-movie horrors with all the crazy shenanigans I can put in, make it rated R, everything that I want to put in, throw the kitchen sink at it, have sex over here, sex over there, guy's head blowing off over here, somebody cussing this dude out, choking him out, and somebody getting peed on over there. I don't know. It's whatever I feel like doing. I mean,
this
I'm
is a
gonna
family
Didn't that
show,
already happen?
Chaz.
Yeah. All I'm saying is,
I think it did.
I mean, this sounds like a regular Saturday night. I mean,
right? See, all I'm saying is, I'm gonna go ahead and just have fun. I mean, I'm making a movie, and as long as everything is just imitation and everybody realizes what's going on and it's done in a professional manner, then what you're doing is you're just giving people shocking things. Like we said, Stanley Kubrick, we said Darren Aronofsky, we said David Lynch, we said Quentin Tarantino. All these directors throw everything at you, so controversial, so in your face, so just wild and stuff that nobody's ever seen before, and it's thought-provoking. You got John Waters. I mean, even James Cameron had, Sarah Connor having sex with Reese or Kyle Reese to have John Connor in the future, but we saw sex scenes. And everybody has sex scenes. I mean, you got just tons and tons of them.
Well, and speaking of that, we have to cut to another break. And when we come back, we're going to be talking about shooting these types of films in Dallas. Is it ever going to become the norm, or is Dallas and DFW area just not ready for big controversial films? We'll talk about that when we come back.
Yeah.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Don't Panic. If you could only hear what we talk about during the breaks. Now, before we cut to break, we were talking to Chaz about your films. Give us the two titles.
Well, I got Moonshine Meat Market Mayhem, post-apocalyptic zombie film set in the post-nuclear Holocaust kind of war. Pretty cool. And then I got Tale of the Voodoo Prostitute. Yeah, that came out first. That was Brain Damage Films, and the new one's Trauma Entertainment.
Nice.
Yeah.
And so before we cut to break, I kind of threw out the question about, is Dallas ready to have these types of films be mainstream, because there are a lot of talent agents here with actors. Chaz, specifically for you, do you find it difficult to cast? Do you ever send a casting call to any of these agents, or?
The truth of the matter is, your first question was, do I think it's ever going to be accepted and done? I don't. That's why I've always watched Grindhouse movies, and then, I grow up and I want to make Grindhouse wild movies, and then I come to find out that nobody's doing it. And so pretty much I've just come in and said, okay, well, this is pretty badass. I can make preachers laugh and strippers blush and whatever I want to do in my film, and just make a wild ride, wild just time for everybody that sees one of my movies. So
right. Well, for you two as actors, just out of curiosity, I don't know if you're with agents or not, but I know that just from casting calls and everything, there are some agents who will not send out their actors if there's nudity for a role. They won't even read the script. They won't even give them, that option. How do you feel about that? Do you agree with it? Disagree?
I think everybody should have the opportunity to choose their own projects, because that's how you show yourself as an actor about what you choose to do. Because you can get 10,000 scripts thrown at you, and you may not want to to touch over half of them, but it's your right to read them. That's why I don't use representation. I make my own decisions so that I'm not limited by someone else's ideals of what I should do.
Right.
And I mean, God, it's the age of Tinder and Snapchat. Like,
Well,
everybody's taking a naked picture of themselves. Why can't you be naked in a film and just whatever?
I think that. Oh, go ahead.
Well, speaking of being naked in a film, you've been naked on stage, live stage.
Yeah.
As well.
The entire play, I
That
was
takes
completely
balls.
naked.
It does take balls.
Saggy, hairy, wrinkly balls.
Yeah, Chaz, what were you going to say?
I was just going to say that, most of the actors in this area, it depends on what you want to do and what your agent wants for your career. But at the same time, there's millions and millions of people out there. And not everybody thinks that what is not an opportunity for you is not an opportunity for them. So what I'm getting at, and I guess in a nutshell, is there's just so many people and so many different types of films or whatever. So, I mean, anybody could do what they want. But if an agent is looking and they're saying, what do I want for your career? Do I want you to just be in local commercials? Do I want you to try to, be in these films, these artsy films for film festivals? And let's just be real about film festivals. Every city has 2 or 3 of them. There's thousands of them. And if you put in 10 film festivals, I think the new statistic is you get in like half of them. So,
Yeah.
I mean, and then you get participation awards pretty much.
Right.
You get, say you're nominated, this, that, and another. But then at the same time, I mean, everybody's getting awards for it, but everybody's seeing all this stuff. But are the distribution companies that are actually selling these movies thinking that anything that they're selling is marketable?
Right. And I'm with you because I have a feeling that agents, especially here in Dallas, are keeping people from advancing as far as acting because I just started watching, I'm late, yes I know, but I started watching the show Shameless with William H. Macy and that whole clan. I was blown away by the first episode. And the first episode is the oldest daughter who's pretty much in the parenting role because the dad's a complete mess. And in the very first scene, it's her in her tiny little panties and a t-shirt, and she's walking through the house, waking up the entire house to get them ready for the day. Later on in the episode, she has a sex scene with this guy on the kitchen floor. Now, in the full episode, it makes complete sense of what happens. They're setting up a lot of storyline, and it's an amazing show. And I think to myself, if this script for Shameless were to be sent to all of these talent agents, they wouldn't even consider it for any of their actors. What is wrong?
Especially in this area.
So what does that mean for our advancement as far as like acting?
It's dehumanizing, to be completely honest. I mean, that's part of life. It's part of our stories. And you can tell a lot of different things with a sex scene based on how people's relationships are with each other, how you can show subtleties in someone's face while they're having sex with someone, and it explains to you everything about how they feel about that other character. You can do it in 10 seconds when you would have to do an entire background, an entire show worth of stuff possibly to prove that feeling.
Yeah. Is there any hope with these agents, Chaz?
Well, here's the way I see it. Like, these agents are like, well, I got my client in Dallas, or Murder Made Me Famous, or Scandal Made Me Famous, or just Queen of the South, or so has like 80% of the other actors in this area. Everybody has been in these shows. That's not giving you any advantage or anything. What you want is a film that's going to go to distribution, seen by a couple 100,000 people, if not more, or hopefully in the millions. But even if you don't make a shit ton of money out the gate, you're still getting exposure where you can have multiple films that are getting millions of views. You're not getting that from film festival circuit or just making films that only get seen locally here in little screenings.
Yeah,
I mean,
if you take a role that's challenging or has something different in it, that puts your name on people's lips.
Mm-hmm. And the way to sometimes get those scripts is through agents if you have an agent. If not, and you're an independent, let's just say like both of you, if you don't have an agent, you have to really hustle to get out there and know where those scripts are, because these agents, they're going to act like your parent and say, well, no, my actor wouldn't enjoy this.
Well,
and
even
they just keep it at that.
Doing the nude play kind of jump-started my theater career in Dallas. I mean, directors saw it and they liked it and they thought I had balls.
Well, but speaking of that, that's the other thing that I want to tell everybody is when, let's just say Chaz is doing a new film and it's going to be crazy and wild like your other films, and someone is thinking of auditioning for you, and then they hear from other people, you know what, you shouldn't be in that, it's going to ruin your career. My advice to you is Do you have a career yet? You need to develop a career first. If you're just known here in the DFW area, you don't have an acting career. You act, and people know who you are here. When you go past DFW and you go across the nation, if not across the world, now you can kind of have a little bit of concern. But until then,
I mean,
all
just
big
work.
actors have their old shames,
Right.
like the movies that they don't want to talk about, the
Jennifer
little B
Aniston,
films.
yeah, Leprechaun, yeah.
I was just going to say, people around this area also make certain types of films. What they're not even thinking is their stuff's not even marketable. Like, who's going to buy a comedy from somebody that nobody's heard? Like, you want to see the new Kevin Hart, the new Will Ferrell, the new, Steve Carell. Like, you don't even know what the comedy is or what it's about, but you know the comedian in it.
Yeah.
Like, that's how these action movies are too. Like, does it have Schwarzenegger, Arnold, like
Right.
Van Damme, The Rock? Like, horror and that's the only thing that really stands the test of time on getting sold outside of this area.
Right.
I know your time's out. Give me a second, damn it.
All right, well, we have to cut to break.
Okay.
We're going to come back. I'll let you finish your thought, and then we're going to close out the show. Guys, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Bye.
Balls.
Hello, everyone. Blah. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Don't Panic. I'm trying to be really quick. Now, did you want to finish your thought, or you kind of
I can't remember anything. I was listening to too many of your ads. 2001: A Space Odyssey's blaring on what's going on.
Gotcha. Well, I'm gonna give you guys an opportunity to promote yourself, what's going on, everything. Chaz?
We got my first film we were talking about, Tele Voodoo Prostitute under Brain Damage Films,
Yay.
Maxim Media. Second one is Moonshine Meat Market Mayhem, former Cancer Dancers. It has now been picked up by Troma Entertainment.
Nice.
That's
It
one of the
is-
things I got going. So
Yeah.
I'm in that one.
So it's on their streaming site now for Troma Now, and it will be hitting DVD or Blu-ray and platforms in the next coming months. So hopefully in the next 5 or so months or 6.
Sweet.
But I got a new film starting soon called Third Reichenstein. So it's
Nice.
a crazy Frankenstein type movie, pretty wild. So
Cool.
pretty excited about some films.
Excellent.
You'll get to see me more in that one too.
Yeah.
That's why I changed my look a little bit, trying to fit the character a little more.
Excellent.
And I'm starting more conventions and stuff with Drea Kitten Ramirez.
Ah,
Yes,
love her.
I do too.
Yes.
Her and I have a little kissing scene in the Meat Market Mayhem.
Ooh.
We support
I
the,
get
the
around
gay
in that
community
movie.
as too.
Yes,
Yeah.
God.
Yeah, we had
Ty?
some girl on girl action, and
We-
everybody enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Hi. Gays, like, say hi to me on Grindr. I'm really nice, I promise. Find me on Instagram, The Deadly Blonde, no E at the end of blonde.
Yay. And guys, I am Ms. Luna. We are here at the Space Station located in Spayse Studios, 1499 Regal Row, Suite 505. And the last thing I want to promote is we have a new thing called Sanctuary, which is we are turning our studio into a dance club every Saturday for this summer for only 15 to 20-year-olds. So parents, if you have kids that you want to get rid of for the evening, throw them over here. We'll have non-alcoholic drinks, great music, and a great facility, and they'll be in good hands. And if you have any questions, if you'd like your own show, you can go to spacestudios@gmail.com, SPAYSE studios.com, website spacestudios.com. Oh, at gmail.com. Never mind. Something like that. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.